watching ACC Network Extra as we welcome you to Charlottesville, Virginia, where it is the 17th all-time meeting between number 16 Virginia and the Davidson Wildcats. Glad to have you with us alongside a former Cavalier in her own right, Chelsea Shine. I'm Dave Kane. Glad to have you with us here courtside at John Paul Jones Arena. Chelsea, it's two teams that go about it very different ways. Tony Bennett's team has been known for its defense. Here is a Davidson team that leads the country in three-point shooting. An interesting matchup from that standpoint.
Yeah, the teams that have two different identities. On the offensive side, it's Davidson, 13 three-pointers a game, and on the flip side, it's Virginia with their defense. It's really going to be important for Davidson for Peyton Aldridge. He's a 6'8" senior forward. Virginia's going to really have to focus on him. He's a stretch four, so he has a capability of shooting the three. He does a really good job of posting up in the interior. He can also pass the ball. He had 7 assists in their last matchup against VMI. He can pass out of the traps, and then he rebounds. So Virginia not only has to focus on him on the interior, but again, he's able to stretch that defense with his ability to shoot the three. The post players for Virginia will have to be aware of that.
Neither of these teams have played in the last 11 days, but for Virginia, well, they were led last time we saw them by 2 scores. Kyle Guy, Devin Hall. For Tony Bennett, he's made no secret he needs a third score today.
Yeah, 2 weeks away from conference play, and Coach Bennett would love to find a consistent third scoring option. Isaiah Wilkins averaging almost 8 points a game, but can they get more balance? Can they get somebody more consistent on the offensive side of the ball? I think this could be another good matchup opportunity for Mamadi Diakite. He had really good minutes in their last game against West Virginia as well.
Two of the great coaches in the country matching wits. Let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team now as Allison Parrish will be roving the sidelines.
Yeah, Dave, these are 2 coaches that really stress fundamentals. Coach McKillop telling us yesterday that this exam break was a big opportunity to work on those things. The simple things like passing and catching that are going to be key against a fundamentally sound defense like Virginia's. It'll be interesting to see how this matchup plays out today.
Well, indeed, it is an intriguing matchup as Virginia and Davidson just moments away from tipping things off. Jack Salt is at center court, and we are underway as he wins the opening tip back from Peyton Aldridge. Virginia, the 16th ranked team of the land, will start with the basketball in the home white uniforms. It is the visiting Wildcats in the traveling gray as the Cavaliers with a starting 5 that has been the same all season long. And it's a mixture of experience, youth, all put together. Right now, Virginia in the final 10 seconds of the opening shot clock trying for the first points. Jack Salt looks like he's going to get called for going over the back. A quick foul out of the gates as we remain scoreless.
This will be a matchup of 2 very disciplined teams. On the one side, you have a Davidson team that will run a lot of screening action. They're good in that. A lot of movement on their offensive sets. And then Virginia just so disciplined on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see which team can impose their will and try to set the tone for their team.
7th game in a row as well that Davidson has used the same starting 5. Both of these teams have kept that starting rotation the same all of their games this year. Here's a three-pointer right out of the gates that goes in and out for the redshirt sophomore, Keyshawn Pritchett. And we remain scoreless in our opening 2 possessions behind us. Wilkins uncorks a 3. He doesn't do it very often, but that time Lottie had a good look at it. Only his 4th three-point try of the season as Davidson now going the other direction with it. Chance to get those first points right here, and that's how you do it. That's Oscar Mickelson. He may be 6 feet 9 inches in height, but the senior out of Finland can stroke it.
Every player on this Davidson squad has the capability. They have 6 players who have hit 7 or more threes so far this season, and that's where I think Mamadi Diakite might see a little more action. DeAndre Hunter as well with that stretch 4 position in the post players for Davidson. They're a tough defensive assignment for Jack Salt.
Nice feed from Hall to Salt, who rocks the rim with a 2-hand dunk. So Virginia now on the board. Davidson still holding on to that lead. They led North Carolina at various junctures throughout the first half. 2 times ago. That was the last time they saw an ACC foe. A very capable team. And when you can shoot it like they do, yeah, it is problematic. And Mickelson misses a wide open look there. He won't miss it very often. It's a defensive breakdown. Tony Bennett talked about the fact that this is one of the hardest teams to defend you'll go against.
They're difficult to defend because of the screening action and because of the way they stretch your defense. You have to respect every player from beyond the arc, including the interior players, which will pull out the big players inside for Virginia.
Devin Hall commits the turnover as the travel. Tony Bennett does not like it when his team gives it away. Those free passes, not something that either of these teams do with regularity. Virginia only 9.5 turnovers a game, 6 fewest in the country. Davidson, even fewer than that, 8.6 turnovers a game. That is second best in college basketball. Another open look for Mickelson, and this time he'll make Virginia pay.
So tough. Diakite having to be there for the help on that drive, but gets sucked too low. And Davidson leading the nation in three-pointers made per game with 13. You talk about that game against UNC. They knocked down 14 three-pointers.
We documented the stretch for the big guys that can shoot it from outside and the travails Virginia has had. We'll talk more about that in the broadcast here, but already Mickelson, big guy, has knocked down a pair as John Axel Goodmanson has called for his team's first foul. So Virginia will have it out of bounds, trailing by 4 early on, and you see a substitution made. Mickelson checks out. And Axel Goodmanson comes away with it. He's going to take it off on the other way and lay it in on the steal. So 2 turnovers early in this game, and that was the sophomore out of Iceland taking full advantage for his first points.
Coach Bennett, as Ty Jerome ran by him on the way back, said you got to come to the ball. Shore up that, we talk about this 11-day break. You might be seeing a little bit of rust being shaken off early for Virginia.
Diakite too strong on the pull-up jumper. Goodmanson on the other end now. Aldridge still trying to get his first point. Shovels out to Pritchett. They continue to rotate it around. Wildcats have scored their first 2 on three-pointers, followed by that transition bucket a couple moments ago. Jerome almost had the steal, but Pritchett holds on. His shot may have been partially blocked by Diakite, who rips down the rebound. Now Jerome trying to drive in. Cavaliers feel like they may have an advantage inside against this Davidson defense. Haven't been able to capitalize just yet, though. 9 to shoot. Hall tees it up from 3, but misses strong. So what's different between these two teams from the last time they played? Well, one notable absence, a Charlotte native, Anthony Gill, is no longer a part of this team. Is the three-pointer from Aldridge offline.
Yeah, the roster and makeup for Virginia when these two teams last played were headlining names of Justin Anderson, Malcolm Brogdon, Anthony Gill, Mike Tobey. Very veteran group.
Devin Hall was the only player for Virginia that played in that game. He only played 2 minutes. Almost another steal there for Goodmanson, but Virginia holds on. Now Jerome scooping to the hoop, but he couldn't finish in traffic. Early in this game, Virginia has missed 4 of their first 5 shots from the floor. And it remains a 6-point advantage for the Wildcats. Here's Pritchett. Rotating it to the near wing. McGarity, 5 to shoot, gets rid of it. Goodmanson's going to have to launch one up. Pump fakes and misses badly. It's a shot clock violation. So that time Virginia's defense got the Wildcats out of sorts, and it'll take us to a timeout with 14:54 to play in this opening half. It is Davidson making the big plays early on in this one. The more we talked about this game, we talked about it was Davidson's offense that would be the storyline. Not so much early on. It's Virginia's inability to score against this Davidson team. You can see the Cavaliers really struggling to convert. It hasn't just been missed shots. Cavaliers have turned it over twice, leading to 5 points, and really that's the storyline early in this game. Yeah,
Davidson's looked really good on the defensive end early on, setting the tone. Again, both are disciplined programs, and so they'll play on that side of the ball in that way, and just making it difficult so far for Virginia to find anything in rhythm.
And you saw Ty Jerome taking a seat on the bench. He's had a tough go here. We mentioned the need for a third scorer. Jerome, the last 4 games, just 7 of 21 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3, with 7 assists, 9 turnovers. Those aren't the numbers that he wants for himself. And in his place, Nigel Johnson is out on the floor right now for the Cavaliers.
Virginia values every possession that they have. They 68.2 possessions per game for Virginia compared to Davidson's 79. So there's a basket for Hall. Every possession valuable on the offensive end of the floor for Virginia.
Boy, Hall had to earn that one, too. He had a hand in his face as he powered that one through. Now the pass inside over the shoulder of Diakite. Down low to McGarity, and there's the turnover. Johnson steps in front of the pass. He throws on the Jets behind the pack, and he had the ball blocked from behind. They'll say no contact, and they'll say it went off of Nigel Johnson to boot. So back to Davidson, and that is why you stick with a play.
Yeah, I mean, really heady play by Pritchett to get back and not only block that cleanly, but have Johnson catch that. That was a good defensive effort, though. Much better look if you're Coach Bennett in the half court.
Dangerous pass down low for Aldridge as he works on Wilkins. Fans want to travel, they won't get it. McGarity's pass deflected again. Pinballs off of players. It's going to go almost out of bounds, but saved by Wilkins into Diakite. So another turnover there for Davidson in second.
You have a feeling that was Coach Bennett had a little chat with his team in that last time out, addressing the defensive effort. Back-to-back hands in the passing lane and turnovers created by Virginia's defense.
Keyshawn Pritchett is whistled for the foul away from the basketball. Second team foul going against Davidson. Virginia will have it again. And Coach McKillop, he much like Tony Bennett, he said, again, we mentioned it in the pregame leading into this, that this is a guy who expects those fundamental plays to be made time in, time out. Both of these coaches live with that mantra, and he's going to make the substitution here as Pritchett checks out. Kyle Guy can't make the shot. And there's another foul. So two quick ones going against the Wildcats here. And that's Aldridge charged with his first.
Saw a smile there after that foul by Diakite. That's on the scouting report. If you can get Aldridge in foul trouble early, that gives Davidson a different look.
Peyton Aldridge, only one shot attempt so far in this game. He's off the board. Rusty Regal out to defend on Hall. Wilkins' man had fallen down. He recognized so much but couldn't make the shot because by the time he got the shot off, Mickelson had peeled himself back up and gets in the way of the shot. Now the freshman Grady out top. Here's Goodmanson. Continuing to work that ball around, waiting for that open shot. This is a very patient Davidson team. You have to be against a Virginia defense, and there's Grady showing the range. Kellen Grady, the most highly touted freshman in a long time for the Davidson Wildcats. Bob McKillop said this was a real coup for us to bring him in, and Steph Curry idolization didn't hurt the recruiting cause. In fact, it was one of the real things that opened the door for the Wildcats to be able to bring him in. And how about this, a 7-point lead early on for the Wildcats. Hall, the late dish to Diakite, who lays it in with a foul. Rusty Regal was saddled with a foul, and now Mamadi Diakite to the free throw line, and it's a heck of a setup.
Good patience, getting into the lane, drawing two defensive players by Hall and dishing it off. High percentage shot inside for Virginia.
Hall's going to get a chance to recharge the battery as he checks out. In his place, Hunter checks in, and here comes Jay Huff, a fan favorite here in Charlottesville, as he will come in to replace Wilkins. Meanwhile, Will McGarity, check that. McGarity checks out of the game. And for Davidson, new player is Aldridge back into the mix. Mamadi Diakite at the line on the season. It's 75%, but he misses strong here. So you wonder if rust is a factor. Chelsea, the thing that bears mentioning with both of these programs, this isn't exactly cupcake city when it comes to taking final exams, both academically inclined institutions. And here's a turnover on the travel from Aldridge, but you were a part of this as a former player at the University of Virginia. How big is the task to deal with final exams, everything that goes with it, then the 10-day layoff, the rust, and everything that's associated?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. You have the grind of studying and taking care of your schoolwork, getting your finals done, and then the excitement and anticipation after 10 to 11 days of practice.
Jay Huff straight along, can't make the shot.
But there's usually some rust to shake off as you just get back into the groove of things, but by the time the second half rolls around, you should be back in full mode of game mode.
Great ball movement here for the Wildcats. That sets up the corner three from Peyton Aldridge. He's got his first points of the game.
And when we asked Coach McKillop how Aldridge was going to be able to take advantage of Virginia, he said he just has to make shots, and that's the case with him in any matchup. He's capable of scoring in so many different ways, and for him it's just a matter of seeing the ball go through a net.
Yeah, he said sometimes it seems simplistic, and it is, but that's the reality. Here's Johnson. He buries one on the other side of things. First long one of the day for the Cavaliers, and Virginia right now trying to keep pace with this Davidson hot shooting Wildcat bunch.
It's Virginia defense. The pack line keeps you out of the lane, but they're capable three-point scorers, and we've seen the range that Davidson has early, so just one step off the line isn't good enough. You have to have a high hand and close out tightly.
Mickelson had hit a pair already, but he couldn't connect on that three-point try. Now Hunter with his foot on the three-point line, too strong. Cavaliers have not led in this game. It has been Davidson with a quick start. Virginia's offense started slow, starting to wake from its slumber, but the real challenge, as we suspected it would be slowing down this Davidson offense. And there's a turnover. What a play by Johnson to tip it ahead to Diakite. Now he's got it back. He tries to take it all the way low, and he draws the whistle on the foul. That'll be the fifth now on Davidson. They've only got one more to give, and still 10:34 to play here in the opening half of basketball in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's all about the passing in Davidson. Aldridge bangs home the three. It's Davidson out in front. The Davidson Wildcats trying to shock the 16th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers. It's been three-point shooting. No surprise there, and no surprise on how they've done it.
Yeah, 4 3-pointers already, and a team that not only leads the nation in knocking down those three-pointers with 13.1 average makes a game, they also lead the nation in assists per game and assist-to-turnover ratio. But when you're shooting the three as well as that, you're getting your assist numbers up as well. But we've seen some good early passing to lead to some wide open looks for Davidson behind the arc.
Not an easy assignment. Coach McKillop, when we talked to him yesterday, said, we don't want to make it out sound all oversimplified, but he said the reality is for us, when we were making threes, we've been doing it against teams that don't defend us well. We've been missing them against the teams that do. Well, they're doing it against a pretty good defense right now for Virginia. Here's Kyle Guy in traffic. His shot blocked away, but Virginia will get another crack at it as it pinballs off a couple players. Now to DeAndre Hunter, who misfires again from same spot he missed just a couple moments ago. He's missed his first three here today. Virginia so far really struggling to get the shots to fall. Just 4 of 16 to start this game.
Virginia's had success when they've been able to go inside and get that higher percentage shot.
The former Boston College Eagle, Will McGarity, could not connect there. Out of Stockholm, Sweden. He's got some ties certainly with the ACC. Sister plays at Virginia Tech, and he's played against these Cavaliers before. Nigel Johnson, little runner.
Good recognition by Johnson. Oh, but a miscue getting back on defense for Virginia.
Well, you don't see that very often against this pack line defense and Tony Bennett's squad that really prides itself on getting back on defense, but it leaves Aldridge all by himself for the easy layup.
When you talk about bigs that run the floor well, Aldridge is one of them. He will sprint to the end of the floor and look for his transition opportunities. He's sound in that area.
Guy drew some contact, it'll look like, but no whistle. Grady will get credit for the block, and he comes away with it. Now looking to run again, and back-to-back points in transition. John Axel Goodmanson, his second bucket of the day.
You just get the sense that everything's coming easy for Davidson right now. They're knocking down the shots on the offensive end, fueling their defense, and Virginia has not been able to get into a rhythm.
Virginia so far in this contest shooting just 28%. Davidson at 50%, but Kyle Guy will put an abrupt halt to those shooting woes as he buries his first of the day. So Virginia back to within 4, trying to weather an early storm. Justin Anderson said a couple years ago when Virginia played Davidson, it was one of the hardest teams to defend he's ever gone against. And Virginia right now scrapping and clawing. His guy will take a seat on the bench after knocking that ball out of play, along with DeAndre Hunter. He checks out. A couple new faces in. Ty Jerome checks into the mix with Devin Hall. And now for Davidson, we'll get our first look at Carter Collins, who only plays just over 9 minutes a game.
Coach Bennett said, too, on this team that Davidson's the type of team that if you have any leaks or holes, they'll expose that and make it evident.
Contested 3-ball this time. Wilkins was out to defend on Aldridge, and now it is Johnson beating the trailer. Wilkins goes up strong, and he was fouled. So far in this game, Nigel Johnson has really taken ownership of trying to get Virginia moving in transition, and to mixed results so far, but an opportunity for points as Wilkins will step to the line for his first opportunity of the day.
Well, with his speed, he's able to push the tempo and push the pace for Virginia. And we've seen him either off of turnovers or even off of rebounds. He's been able to push the ball and get the offense going in transition for Virginia.
Wilkins knocks down the first of 2. He's a 76% free throw shooter. Isaiah, one of Virginia's stalwarts defensively, trying to lift his contributions on offense as well. He's done a better job of that this season, averaging just under 8 points a game, but he really does it on the glass and on defense as an all-ACC defensive team selection a year ago.
You just watch this half-court set. I mean, we've seen a lot of screening action by Virginia, but Davidson, a team that just runs you off of those screens, and Virginia early trying to chase and follow, but Davidson has held on to the lead, and as we've mentioned, they've done it with the 3-point shooting. They're up by 4.
Been a while since either of these teams have played. Last time it was in Morgantown, West Virginia, where Virginia lost to West Virginia. It was largely behind a career-high 22 points from the stretch 4. That was Lamont West hitting 22 points on 4 3-pointers in that game. Early in this game, Aldridge, you just saw there, he's hit a 3-pointer. Also another big man for the Wildcats, Oscar Mickelson, with a pair of 3-pointers. That is going to be an area Virginia will have to focus in on throughout this game today. Here's a 3-point try from Carter as it misses short. Jack Salt back into the game with the rebound for Virginia, moving into the front court in the home white uniforms. It is Davidson in the traveling gray. Devin Hall working his way against the freshman Grady. Now to Johnson. A head fake from Nigel Johnson. He writes his way in traffic, and now with 7 points, a pair of rebounds, 2 steals, and an assist in just over 7 minutes of playing time. He has made an impact in this game, and he comes away with another poke away right there, right to Jerome, back to Johnson. He lofts it up and gets it to go.
Look at that. He kind of threw that up for an alley-oop, telling Wilkins to go get it, but it went in.
Man, oh man, you know you're good when you're throwing up assists and scores all in one motion.
Wilkins gave him that look like, what the heck, man? I was right there ready for it.
Virginia with its first lead of the game, but it's even again as Mickelson takes the pass down low. Oscar Mickelson already 8 points for the Wildcats. He came in averaging just 6 points a game. He only played 6.5 minutes per game a season ago. Snaps what was a 9-0 scoring run for Virginia. The combination right now is Hall, Johnson, Salt, Jerome, and Wilkins for Virginia. As Johnson shovels it out to Jerome, and now Wilkins passes up on the exterior shot and thumps it down with a 2-hand slam.
Good job by Wilkins. I wouldn't call Wilkins a stretch 4, but he is capable of putting the ball on the floor. We have seen him knock down the threes, so that is not his primary shot, but good recognition to take it to the hoop from the free throw line.
There's a little part of every big man that wants to be a 3-point shooter in there. Here's Goodmanson driving and drawing the whistle.
Well, I think what Isaiah Wilkins does such a good job of, too, is unselfish player. Even when he has an open look, he'll pass it up for a better look.
So here comes Kyle Guy back into the game, and Johnson with a much-earned chance to recharge the battery. Back in for Davidson. It is going to be Pritchett as he replaces Grady, and now DeAndre Hunter back in to replace Jerome, who just picked up what is his second foul of the game. I think Tony Bennett may call his guys over here. He wants a timeout, just a 30-second timeout. Bennett seeing something he wants to address with his guys. And Chelsea, you know, we watched this game play out for Virginia. They start this game shooting well under 30%. Now you see him starting to climb back up there at 9 of 22, 41% for the game. What have you noticed in terms of a different approach for Virginia tactically? Is it a matter of simply executing?
Yeah, I think Virginia, as they've been able to start stringing together a couple of stops on the defensive end, that's fueled their offense a little bit. They're being a little bit more patient, looking for opportunities in transition, and then getting 2 feet in the paint, moving the ball well, finding their post players, getting those touches on the interior that Coach Bennett has stressed that he wants his team to look to get the ball inside more, and so those shots are becoming higher percentage.
A Virginia team that's won 7 straight games in this building at John Paul Jones Arena, a place that has been awfully difficult for the opposition through recent years. Here is Davidson with a basketball as we pick it up again. Pritchett working on Hunter. Spins in the block, contested shot. Banks it in anyway. Tough shot there from Keyshawn Pritchett. Pritchett, the redshirt sophomore out of Mooresville, North Carolina. Started 16 games a season ago. He started all 8 so far here in 2017 and 18. Make plays like that, you'll earn a spot in that starting rotation. DeAndre Hunter got himself into trouble. The ball was kicked away, but shot clock will reset to 20. Mickelson got his foot on that one. Those European players really, soccer is what they grow up playing. Then it becomes basketball as he checks out of the game. That's right. New into the game, Will McGarity. Inbound pass will be sent to Wilkins. So Virginia resets things. We are even at 22. A game that Davidson has led mostly throughout. Perimeter shots really have been going down. Devin Hall, too strong on the jumper right there. He's one of his first 4 to start this game. Carter Collins now for Davidson will feed it to the left side. They just work that ball back and forth, seeking out that open look. What a feed here. Great dish from Pritchett down low, and McGarity with the finish. Catching
Isaiah Wilkins just a step too late while the strong side action was happening. Good read by Aldridge, just slip back door.
Yeah, I think I'd said McGarity. You're right, it was Aldridge right there. So now it's Devin Hall feeding out to Guy. Virginia trailing again. They've only led very briefly in this game as Wilkins fades and fires. There's Hunter to clean it up. Keyshawn Pritchett, the redshirt sophomore against the redshirt freshman DeAndre Hunter. Now it's down low going to Aldridge. He draws some extra attention. He will back up. McGarity on Salt, banging around. Lowers the shoulder, had the ball slapped away. That's playing right into Jack Salt's hands right there. He loves the physical contact. Here's a shot with the clock expiring, and off the mark was Aldridge. So a good defensive set right there. And for the Kiwi, Jack Salt, that is what he was born to do, play that bruising brand of basketball down low.
And you'd wondered how much action Jack Salt would see with that mismatch of having to guard that stretch 4 position, but has held his own.
Guy couldn't finish down low. He found the smallest of openings, but a little bit off balance. Pritchett feeds the open shooter. Collins offline, and a late whistle on Jack Salt of all people, closing out right there. So that'll be the second foul on Jack Salt, and it also will result in 3 shots for Carter Collins, the freshman from Chapel Hill. Will go to the line, trying to give his team the lead right back after this. Well, for Jack Salt, we talked about his rugged brand of basketball. A little too rugged here for Virginia's leader, averaging 8.4. I should say 1 foul every 8.4 minutes played, but those are the ones that are tough to live with. And Jack still learning to kind of harness the power, so to speak.
Good closeout, just dropped the hand in continuation and hit Carter as that shot was going up.
Second foul for Jack Salt, and it's going to result in 3 free throws coming up for Carter Collins. He was East Chapel Hill's all-time leading, East Chapel Hill High School's leading all-time scorer. passing 1,000 career points by his junior year, and actually they're going to say it was after the shot. And we thought that when we watched the replay that perhaps it would be. It was so late. So no free throws. And here's a whistle and a foul as Nigel Johnson disrupting things again, getting in the way of the pass. He had a chance of the steal before he was fouled by Goodmanson. That'll be the second on John Axel Goodmanson, and that is something to watch. We talk about tough guys. We were just talking about Jack Salt, and Coach McKillop said that John Axel Goodmanson is very typical of that Icelandic community. He's a real fighter. You can see he plays with some tenacity, but right here he's going to send Johnson to the line for a 1-and-1 as it's team foul number 7.
Really good spark off the bench. Johnson has been 9 points, 2 steals, but has gotten his hands on a lot of the balls, loose basketballs, to create transition opportunities and more possessions for his team.
Rusty Regal comes on to replace Goodmanson for Davidson. Meanwhile, second free throw on the way for Johnson after he makes the front side of the 1-and-1. He came into this game 54% at the line, just 7 of 13. A chance to extend the lead to 2 right here for Virginia. And he'll do that. He's had the Midas touch so far in this one today. Nigel Johnson already 10 points in this one to lead all scorers. Make it 11 with that free throw. So Davidson, who has led throughout the lion's share of this opening half, now finds itself trailing. Virginia has slowly settled into this game after getting off to a slow start. Aldridge working on the all-conference defensive player Wilkins, and that one was as close to going down as you can get. What a matchup. You love seeing 2 guys like that isolated.
Yeah, Wilkins sort of clenching his fists, giving himself a little good sigh of relief that shot didn't fall after giving his all defensively.
2 seniors that do it as well as anybody, but nobody better than that guy right now. Nigel Johnson's doing it all. He has 14 points, and he just buried another long one right there. Timeout for Davidson. Wow. How about the spark off the bench for Nigel Johnson? We mentioned who would the third scorer be. Well, we didn't think maybe Nigel Johnson would be the lone scorer. He's the only guy for Virginia with multiple field goals in this game, and right now he's feeling it.
Yeah, in a rhythm. You've got to be impressed, too, because it's not just on the offensive end. Johnson's really allowed his defense to impact the way he's playing on the offensive end. He's hustling for all loose balls. He's been a really good spark off the bench for Virginia. And you start to wonder, as we mentioned, who's that third scoring option consistently going to be. We've seen Isaiah Wilkins have a good game here or there. We've seen Mamadi Diakite have a good game here or there. But wouldn't that be something if Johnson can emerge as that third weapon off the bench?
Well, Virginia had 2 early turnovers in this game in the opening 3 minutes, but they have not given it away since. They're starting to hit their shots, and more specifically Nigel Johnson, who came into this game just 26% from long range, but he's hit a pair of them already in this one, and he's put Virginia out in front by 5 points as Davidson trying to snap out of a scoring drought that is closing in on 3 minutes. Aldridge has the ball poked away, but they will say a foul on Mamadi Diakite.
That's the second time we've seen Aldridge use his change of direction and change of speeds to cut back door and beat the defense.
First foul on Diakite. It is team foul number 5 for Virginia. Now Aldridge to the line. A-10's second leading returning scorer from a year ago. Coach McKillop told us yesterday that he would really like to find a way to limit the minutes and give him more of a chance to rest and not lean quite as heavily on Peyton Aldridge as he has so far this year. He came in 35.9 minutes a game, leading the team in that category. But he said, we've got one of the things we learned in the last 2 weeks, we've got other scoring options. We just need to recognize that and utilize some of them as Mickelson checks out of the game for Davidson. And now the combination is Brady, Pritchett, Regal, along with McGarity and Aldridge for the Wildcats. Deficit cut down to 3 again, inside of 2 to go here in this opening 20.
Davidson now in a 2-3 zone, giving Virginia a different look defensively.
Hall, the zone buster. That's Devin Hall's second made bucket of the day and his first long one. And the lead is as large as it's been now for Virginia. A 6-point advantage. Aldridge draws the double team.
Virginia's so good sending that double team. Aldridge good getting out of it, but that's a staple in their defense.
What a play by Wilkins, almost forced the turnover, but it will lead indirectly to this one. Johnson trying to lob that one up. It was deflected. Guy comes away with it, and he lays it in up close.
Johnson already saw one of his alley-oops go in. You sort of saw him try to make up his mind.
Wilkins almost had another turnover right there. His diving effort leaves Regal alone, and he delivers the dagger from the near side. Rusty Regal, 60% from beyond the arc this season, just knocked down that one. And now we've got is this a warning against McKillop? I believe it is. Our officiating crew today of Ron Groover, Bill Covington, and Jeremy Mosier. So Virginia will have the basketball as Coach McKillop gets a little explanation or a talking to, whatever you want to call it. Neither he nor his counterpart are two that often draw the ire of officials, but whatever he said there caught the attention of them. Here's Kyle Guy to Hall. Nigel Johnson's been the marked man of late, and with good cause. He's been in the middle of everything. Here's Devin Hall, and he plants it right in the heart of the cylinder for a second straight trip.
Pritchett had a hand up. Devin Hall so good at elevating up over the defense. It was a tough shot.
Davidson playing for the final shot now as the shot clock is off. The lead is as large as it's been. Pritchett working. Deflected by Hall. Now it's Aldridge bouncing off of his foot. He's up the desperation three. It wasn't off in time, and Virginia will close, going 9 of 13 from the field and hitting their last 4 straight three-pointers en route to an 8-point lead at the break. Boy, what a half it was for this Virginia basketball team after they started slow. All of a sudden, the lights went off, and all of a sudden, Virginia was flexing its muscle. Allison Parrish is with us here. She's going to be trying to catch up with Ron Sanchez in a couple moments' time, get his thoughts on the development of this first half. But Chelsea, this was just a tough start after a long layoff. Cavaliers getting it done though late, and right now Allison Parrish is standing by with Ron Sanchez, associate head coach.
Coach, you had kind of a slow start, picked up towards the second half. How do you keep the momentum going?
Well, you know, it's a difficult team to guard. Their offense moves really well. Our defense picked up, and that's the reason why we got better. As our defense works, our offense works. You know, if we're not getting stops, then we're not going to be able to score well. I think our defense really picked up as the game moved on.
Even though they picked up, is there any adjustments you need to make coming back to the second half to stop this high-powered offense?
Yeah, no, they're a really, really good three-point shooting team. We got to do a better job of getting to catches. We've given up too many transition baskets, so we got to do a better job of getting back in transition and setting our defense.
Great, thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach Sanchez and his team have to feel pretty good about where they sit right now. Second half coming up, but first it's halftime here in Charlottesville. It's an 8-point lead for the 16th ranked Virginia Cavaliers. It wasn't always that way through the first half as we welcome you back once again to Charlottesville, Virginia. Virginia and Davidson meeting for the 17th all-time meeting. Last time these two teams got together, well, you've got some different personnel in the mix for sure. And of course, you're talking a few years back, but Anthony Gill, a hometown product, High Point, North Carolina, had a huge showing, mostly in the second half. And in a similar setting, Virginia fell behind in that game by 12 points in the first half, but began to flex its muscle as the game progressed. We've seen a similar story here in this one today, but you look back at it 3 years ago, boy, Davidson off to the quick start, but couldn't hang on down the stretch.
Yeah, as you had mentioned, up by as many as 12 in the first half. And you said earlier that Justin Anderson, after this game, said this was one of the hardest teams he has ever had to defend. Anthony Gill, of course, a headlining name on that Virginia roster, 25 points. 19 of those points came in the second half. So challenge at halftime by Coach Bennett. Peyton Aldridge also on this Davidson team back when the teams last met. He was a freshman. And then Devin Hall on the other side only played 2 minutes, but he remains on the roster still for Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia actually trailed as late as the 11:20 mark in the second half of that contest, but a star-studded cast of Cavaliers in that game ultimately prevailed. And well, today we've had some different stars step up, most notably Nigel Johnson for Virginia. We'll talk a little bit more about the way the first half unfolded, but these teams, you're going way back to 1921, the first all-time meeting. And again, the Terry Holland story. Look, this is two teams that share a lot of the history together. Terry Holland played at Davidson, coached against Virginia at Davidson. Next year, he coached with Virginia against his old team. And well, a lot of shared history between these two programs. We're going to come back, talk about how this year's matchup is unfolded. But first, we owe you this timeout as Virginia sitting out in front by 8 at the break here at John Paul Jones Arena. Virginia with an 8-point lead here in Charlottesville, Virginia, as they take on the Davidson Wildcats in a game that started Wildcats and then started to drift more Virginia. The Cavaliers outscored Davidson 26-11 over the final 9 minutes of that opening 20 minutes of this one. Dave Kane and Chelsea Shine, glad to have you with us here courtside. And Chelsea, you look back at that first half. Virginia turns it over twice early on. They clean it up. They would not turn it over the final 17 minutes of that first half. However, Davidson, a team that takes care of the ball as well as just about anybody, gave it away 7 times in that first half.
No, you heard Coach Sanchez say it coming out of half. A little bit of a slow start for Virginia. Davidson able to get comfortable, found an ability to knock down some threes. They hit 5, but then as Virginia turned up their defensive pressure, they created some turnovers, which led into some transition opportunities. They really created some problems for Davidson, and you saw the way that their defense and the way that Virginia picked that up started to affect them on the offensive end.
Meanwhile, one of the things we really talked about coming into this game for Virginia was the fact that this Cavalier team needed to find a third scorer. Well, they have here in this game today. Nigel Johnson has been a major disruptor, and he's getting it done on both sides of the floor.
Really good performance in the first half. Off the bench for Nigel Johnson, 2 for 2 from behind the arc. He's got 14 points so far. He is just his speed. His ability to change and push tempo, push speed. He's done a really good job with his shot selection. I think this is a positive thing you're seeing if you're Coach Bennett, seeing this as an option off the bench for you.
The former Rutgers star with his most points as a Cavalier in his first year here at UVA, his career high for those wondering. 23 points happening 1 season ago. He may be on his way to that here today. Cavaliers with the 8-point lead at the break. Second half in just a moment. All right, getting ready for the second half here in Charlottesville, Virginia, where the Cavaliers have come from behind, trailed by as many as 8 in this one, but have battled their way back. And right now lead at 37-29 as we are moments away from second half action. Dave Kane alongside Chelsea Shine with you courtside, getting ready for the second 20 minutes of this one. And Chelsea, as we look back on the first half today, well, you knew three-pointers were going to be a story in this game. They certainly were, mostly early for Davidson. They cooled off. Meanwhile, Virginia equals the three-point shooting total of the Wildcats over the course of this one. But the number that really stands out, you see right there, it is bench points. And that is thanks in large measure to number 23, Nigel Johnson for Virginia, who has picked up already 14 points in this game.
Yeah, Johnson has 14 points, and he's also done a tremendous job of creating so many of those 7 turnovers for Davidson, just those hustle plays. That's created 6 points off of those turnovers for Virginia. So again, you heard Coach Sanchez talk about it. As Virginia was able to pick up their defense, it allowed them to flow a little more easily into their offense.
Well, as we get ready to start the second half, our own Allison Parrish had a chance to talk with Coach McKillop just a couple moments ago. Take it away, Allison.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, Coach McKillop said they've had some really, really good flashes against this Virginia defense, but they have to be tough. They were just preaching toughness in the locker room. They can't let those defensive disruptions happen. Guys?
All right, thank you much. Yeah, Coach McKillop talked to us yesterday. He said when we lost at App State, that was a game where we got punched down, we got up, we got punched down again, and then sooner or later you just run out of energy, and that is what he's trying to avoid here today. Boy, this is the strangest thing ever. We're at John Paul Jones Arena. I've got the sun right in my eyes through the smallest of openings. As we start the second half, it's a great set play to Mickelson for the two-hand dunk.
And Aldridge so good passing out of that double team. Virginia, we've seen the way that they send that help, that trap on the post, but Good set play for Davidson.
Aldrichson's such a complete player. 21.5 points a game, over 7 rebounds a game, over 4 assists. Speaking of assists, how about that dish from Kyle Guy?
Really good court awareness by Guy while attacking the rim. Saw the help defender come off of Isaiah. Good little dish-off pass for the easy 2.
Another beautiful pass, this time from Davidson, as Pritchett comes up with his second nifty pass of the game as he sets it up down low. So the Wildcats with a couple of nifty plays early on here in the second half, and now Nigel Johnson gets himself into trouble, and it's going to be taken away by Grady. Here's Goodmanson. Out top to Grady. Quick, crisp passing early in the second half for the Wildcats. Aldridge turns and fires his fading jumper over Wilkins. Comes down too short. So Isaiah Wilkins being in his spot, owning that space, pays dividends. He has made a name for himself doing just that. Kyle Guy, catch and shoot off the mark. He was 2 of 6 in the first half. Trying to get on track here in half number 2. This is when he really exploded against West Virginia. He had missed all of his first 6 shots against the Mountaineers last time out before he went off for 18 points in 9 minutes with 6 3-pointers. Grady's 3 here is too short.
Nigel Johnson getting rewarded for his first half performance with the start here in the second half.
He's out there right now with Hall, Wilkins, Salt, and Guy. Ty Jerome started the first half, watches from the bench here, and for the guy that shoots it like that, it's hard to argue the case as Nigel Johnson hits his 3rd tray of the game. He's got 17 points now. Keep in mind, he'd made all of 5 3-pointers in the previous 9 games combined. Pritchett working on Hall's defense. Goes by him and lays it in. Nice move down low by Keyshawn Pritchett.
Good job by Pritchett. One-on-one opportunity. Patient with the ball, reading the defense.
Good anticipation there for Goodmanson. Almost forced the turnover. Now Hall knifes his way through the defense. Missed the shot, but drew the whistle. Our first whistle here of the second half in the way of a foul. And that'll be the first foul on Oscar Mickelson. And it sends Devin Hall to the free throw line. 92% free throw shooter. He's hit 23 of 25 for the season. And he'll make good on the first here. Devin Hall was a big part of Virginia's offense. We mentioned he and Kyle Guy. Hall was the one that did it throughout the game against West Virginia, though, as we see 2 players check out Pritchett along with Mickelson. And he'll be replaced by Regal and also McGarity for Davidson. But Hall in that game, 19 points, 6 assists, just 1 turnover against that frenetic, attacking West Virginia defense. Press Virginia's has become known under Bobby Huggins.
And his opponents start to key in on Guy and Hall, try to lock them down with their best defenders. To have that 3rd option in Johnson, again, if he can become this consistent night in and night out, gives Virginia that other option, not only off the bench, but at that guard position.
Aldridge was trying to work on Mamadi Diakite, who was holding his own down low and forced the travel. Just a little stutter step down there to give it back to Virginia. West Virginia, or I should say Davidson, just over 8.5 turnovers a game already in this contest now, with that giveaway right there, sitting with 8 for the game. 16-20 still to play, too. Here's Ty Jerome, and he puts up a nice off-balance shot from just inside the free throw line.
Tough 2 for Jerome. How about him responding off the bench? Just maturity from the young sophomore. Not getting the start in the second half, but able to come in and provide a spark.
Goodmanson rifles it up top to Regal. Ooh, off the hands of Grady. The race for the loose basketball will be won by McGarity. And a chance to reset. Long 3. How about that one from all the way out in Crozet from John Axel Goodmanson as he saw the shot clock down to 7.
You know, those are the shots, and we saw a few of those shots against West Virginia where they were contested or deep shots that if you're Coach Bennett, you just say, I got to live with that. I'm okay with that, and that's one of those tough shots.
Bounce pass to Diakite with a soft touch. So all of a sudden, these two teams trading punches. Here's Aldridge unloading on a three-pointer as he buries it. Peyton Aldridge with his second three-ball of the day. He's got 11 points now for Davidson.
Coach McKillop saying this break, 11-day finals break, was huge for the entire team, but especially for Aldridge, just to get his legs rested and under him almost 36 minutes a game.
Devin Hall says, touche. Devin Hall picking his scoring up now. He's got 13 now for Virginia. 5 of them here in the second half, where he has outscored any of his opponents thus far. A three-pointer right there and the deuce a couple moments ago. And back and forth we go. Another near turnover and some quick hands there from Jack Salt. He slaps that ball away, but he was the last one to touch it. He'll get a high five as he makes his way to the bench. Cavaliers with a 10-point lead as we continue throughout this second half. Both offenses heating up here in Charlottesville. Little holiday cheer in the air here in John Paul Jones Arena. Members of the Virginia football team taking this one in here. They're getting ready for a bowl game coming up December 28th against Navy, the Military Bowl right here in our contest. It is the 16th ranked Virginia Cavaliers out in front by 10. And right now, you can't feel comfortable if you're Virginia. You got to worry about that guy. Peyton Aldridge and his teammates, they can make up a deficit in a hurry, hitting over 13 three-pointers per game, leading the country in that category. They've got the basketballs. We pick it up.
2 made three-pointers for both of these teams early on in the first 5.5 minutes. Both teams shooting over 70%.
Long rebound out for Davidson again here as Goodmanson couldn't connect. Now it's going to set up McGarity, and he can't connect, but another offensive board. And here's the foul on Mamadi Diakite. So for Davidson coming into this game, they were minus 1.9 rebounding in the rebound margin category. That is a successful possession so far. See if they can get points out of it, but so far so good as they get a couple opportunities on the glass for Mamadi Diakite, his second foul. That's the first team foul of the second half as Diakite is going to check out. Isaiah Wilkins will come in to replace him. The lineup right now for Virginia is a combination of Salt, Wilkins, Guy, Jerome, and Hall. For Davidson, it's Goodmanson, McGarity, Aldridge, Grady, and Regal. Here's McGarity attacking as he kisses it in. Will McGarity's first points of the game in his first year playing at Davidson. Last year, he started 27 games, averaged about 8.5 points a game. Now it's Wilkins feeding to Jerome. Tile Guy penetrating to Hall. Elbow jumper. Got it.
The lefty just so good at elevating above the defense. Really good looking shot for Hall.
15 points now for Virginia's graduate player, the senior out of Virginia Beach, Cape Henry Collegiate High School, just down the road. Now Grady splits a pair of defenders, but forgot to take the basketball with him. Swatted away by Wilkins. Devin Hall now running for Virginia. Here is an off-balance shot from Guy. Thought he got some contact, but did not get the whistle, and the shot, meanwhile, was way offline.
Not sure that's the shot you wanted in transition.
Aldridge takes advantage of the opening, splits a pair of defenders. He's got a chance of the three-point play. Well, Peyton Aldridge now 14 points in the game.
Tough shot in transition for Guy, leading to a run out for Aldridge. Just driving baseline. Strong finish with the contact.
Help defense a little late getting there from Isaiah Wilkins and Jack Salt, and he will finish the three-point play with that shot. Isaiah Wilkins was charged with his first. So with that, Grady takes a seat on the bench. Checking in now for Davidson, Carter Collins. And that lead is down to 7. Davidson hanging around. Davidson team that led for the bulk of the first half. Here's Guy feeding to Jerome. Ty, little jab step with a bounce pass down to Wilkins. His pass almost off the hands of Salt. Gathers it in before he feeds Guy, and Guy buries one from the near wing.
That's a perfect shot for Kyle Guy. The ball went inside, touched both players, both post players, and a kick out.
See, Davidson starting to attack the interior of the Virginia defense all of a sudden, and they're getting some fouls for their efforts. Not a team that gets to the line with much regularity. They rely on that three-point shot so much, but they're making some hay here of late, doing just that as Jerome checks out. He's replaced by Johnson. Ty Jerome just picked up his third foul right there. Goodmanson goes by Hall, but there was a foul before he turned the corner, so the foul is on the floor. And for Devin Hall, Hall's had a little bit of trouble corralling some of these players defensively. He's one of the better defenders for Virginia, but a couple of instances here today he's been exposed against Davidson.
Well,
New player is Pritchett.
And if you're Davidson at this point, you just keep attacking. Off the bounce, a couple back-to-back fouls. You see here Hall, 2 hands on. That's a point of emphasis as the referee blows his whistle.
Now we got another quick foul. Somebody holding on to the jersey of one of the Davidson guys, and all of a sudden Virginia has racked up 5 quick fouls here. 3 of them coming in the last minute or so. Fans don't like that call. That was on Wilkins, and now Wilkins draws the charge on Aldridge. Man, these officials are getting some exercise here. Now Bob McKillop puts the big face rake on right there as he can't believe the call.
And that's still just 2 on Aldridge.
His first of the second half. Now Hall has it for Virginia on the ensuing possession. 5 turnovers for Aldridge. That's been the blemish for him. The shot from Guy misses, and what a job from Wilkins. That's what he does about as well as anybody. Just keeps that ball alive, doing those little things. Now Hall leans back, and he uncorks a beauty from the right wing.
Isaiah Wilkins should get credited assisting the assister on that shot for saving the possession. I think he taps the ball out on rebounds more than he goes to secure it, but it's all the same when Virginia gets another chance.
Hall had 19 points last time out. He's got 18 here today. Pritchett, too short. Wilkins there for the rebound, but he was on the end line when he caught it. So it will be Davidson basketball, but for Virginia, the offense is starting to cook, thanks in large measure to one Devin Hall. He is getting these shots off in a flurry. None better than that one right there.
Welcome back, where Virginia leads Davidson 59-46, and we talked about the break that both of these teams have had to rest their legs, and it's necessary. You look at the big 3 for Davidson and the minutes played per game, especially for Peyton Aldridge, 35.9. He's played 28 minutes so far, and then the points per game as well. These 3 players accounting for 65.2% of Davidson's offense on the season and have combined for 53 of their 82 threes on the season. So they log the minutes and provide much of the offense for Davidson.
Yeah, it's hard to go away from guys when they're giving you production, and that is sort of the dilemma facing Bob McKillop as he tries to rest those guys a little bit more. Now keep in mind, Davidson won't play again for 6 days when they head off to Hawaii for their next showdown with New Mexico State, and there's an offensive foul going against the Wildcats here. So they will give it back to Virginia on another turnover. That is now 11 on the game for Davidson. And Will McGarity is called for the foul, so that is his first foul, and for Davidson, their 3rd team foul here in the second half. This is the largest lead of the game for Virginia right now. A 13-point advantage in a game that has seen 3 lead changes. Devin Hall finding the opening inside, using the soft left-hand touch.
Every time a Virginia guard's able to get in the lane, you can see they survey where is the help defense. If they suck up to help, the guards have done a really good job of passing off to Wilkins or Salt inside, but if the defense stays Kyle Guy, Devin Hall, Nigel Johnson, they've done a good job of taking the shot themselves.
Aldridge on the other side, a little kiss. So for Devin Hall, 20 points now. That is his career high, as he has taken the scoring mantle away from Nigel Johnson, who had 17. Johnson was such a big lift for this team in the first half, but Devin Hall, his coach called him a slow cooker this week. He said he's our crock pot. He's been slowly getting better and better all throughout his career. 5 years in, he has become a star for this team as Wilkins shot too strong. I don't know what kind of a nickname that is. Do you want to be called the slow cooker? Does that have staying power?
Food cooked in the crock pot often tastes really good.
It's worth the wait. Near turnover. Here's Grady. He gets it back. He fires one up from three, but cannot connect. And there's Wilkins again for the rebound. Nigel Johnson speeds his way through the defense, but did not have numbers and will back it out. Here's Johnson trying to set up Salt, who was fouled going down. And sometimes you feel like you got to say timber every time Jack Salt goes down. But
it's a long way down.
It is a long way down, and you do not want to have your legs undercut by big Jack Salt at 6'11", 250. Coach Bennett calls him one of the most relentless players he has ever had. He plays like his hair's on fire every time he's out there. What he does not love to do is shoot free throws, as he steps to the line right here, hitting 5 of 9 this season, and yeah, a little too strong on that shot. And here comes Mickelson in to the game for Davidson. They'll also send Rusty Regal in as Collins and McGarity check out for Davidson.
Well, Salt didn't have a field goal attempt in their game against West Virginia, and it'll be interesting to see as conference play approaches. Certainly Salt adding good minutes with his physicality, rebounding, blocking shots, holding down a larger opponent on the interior. But if they need scoring, it doesn't come easily for Salt. At least it's not the first or second or third option.
Nigel Johnson on the other end of things now for Virginia. It's a tough matchup for a guy like Jack Salt, too, when you've got all these big guys that can shoot the ball as well as they do. For Davidson, he's fared pretty well. Johnson was leaning back off balance when he missed that three-point try right in front of his own bench. He'd hit 3 of them already today. Drew a bump, but no whistle, and that sets up the three-point try from Mickelson, who has not been able to connect since early in this game. Oscar Mickelson hit a pair of three-pointers and looked like he was off to the races, but since then has missed 4. And there was a whistle and a foul away from the ball. This is on Rusty Regal, and for Regal, it's his 3rd. So Mamadi Diakite checking in now for Virginia. Jack Salt will get a chance to take a seat. And also Ty Jerome springing to his feet as Kyle Guy checks out. Davidson led for 11 minutes and 54 seconds of that first half. We're in control for a good chunk of time, but Virginia started to assert itself, maybe shake a little bit of that rust that comes with not playing for 10 straight days, dealing with final exams, all the stress and pressure that comes with that when you're not really thinking about basketball as much as you normally do. As Hall teased one up from 3, but missed it strong.
Well, Virginia's done a good job of limiting Kellen Grady, just 3 points for him.
Grady's coming off of a tough shooting game last time out against VMI, and there's a reason for that.
Somebody special was at that game. You may know him. Steph Curry came back with his parents to watch that game, and as we mentioned, Kellen Grady, a huge Steph Curry fan. And Coach McKillop said that might have been one of the reasons. There definitely were some nerves, excitement, feeling a little anxious.
Aldridge offline on the shot. Virginia going the other way. And you know, that is one of the great things about this Davidson program, is the fact that it really is a family affair in so many ways, as Wilkins powers his way through the defense.
He said there's a steady flow of alum that come back, not only, you know, at a certain time of the year, but through the summer, through the fall. Especially when you have a guy like Steph Curry, who certainly means so much to the program and is identified with this Davidson program. Means a lot.
We got a whistle and a foul. Looks like it's going against Devin Hall. So it'll be Davidson basketball when we come back with Virginia protecting a 15-point lead here in half number 2 in Charlottesville. Well, the redshirt senior Devin Hall has put his mark on this game in a big way in the second half. 9 first-half points. He's got 20 now for the game. And, well, Virginia has been riding his scoring inside and out.
Yeah, Devin Hall has done a really good job today. Good shot selection, good movement off the ball to create open shots for himself. Redshirt senior who has just put in his time, and you've seen his game evolve over the years. You mentioned career high. He's a part of the 50-40-90 club right now, shooting 50%, 52% from the field, 43% from 3, and 92% from free throw. He's 2 for 2 from behind the free throw line and 4 for 6 from behind the arc today. Really good numbers, consistency for the redshirt senior.
There's a turnover, driving that baseline, stepping on the end line. It'll go back over to Virginia, but you know, we talked about coming into this game, who would be the third scorer for Virginia? It's been Devin Hall, and it's been Nigel Johnson so far for Virginia. And incidentally, Virginia's leading scorer, Kyle Guy, is not needed to shoulder too much of the scoring burden in this one. His Guy so far in this contest has all of 8 points so far. They haven't needed him to do too much scoring because of those other two. Here's Jerome fading and firing. His shot wouldn't go down. But the offensive board for Wilkins.
And I think that's exactly the point. You know you're going to get points from Kyle Guy if you need it, and he will consistently be that top scorer for you along with Devin Hall. And when we talk about finding that third scoring option, it's who can consistently become that third scoring option. But on a night like this or a day like this when you've got Nigel Johnson going off, it alleviates pressure from Kyle Guy.
5th turnover of the game right there as Johnson was trying to set up Diakite, and that is tied for the season low in a game this season for Virginia, who had turned it over 5 times in a 9-point win at VCU. Incidentally, that was a game that saw Kyle Guy go on for 29 points, his career high, and the most points for a Virginia player since Joe Harris scored 36 against Duke way back when. Here's Grady with it. He shuffles out top now. It's Goodmanson. Foul away from the basketball is, I think it was Guy or Diakite, one of the two that got tangled up with Rusty Regal. And that'll be on Mamadi Diakite, his 3rd.
Yes, to finish that point on Kyle Guy, as you were mentioning some of those numbers, if you watch that West Virginia game, had 18 points, all of them in the second half, knocking down 6 threes. He went 3 for 3 from behind the arc in a 1-minute span, from the 13:50-ish mark to the 12:45-50-ish mark in that second half. I mean, that's impressive to shake off a first half where you're not scoring. You haven't seen one go down, and to be able to come back, have a short-term memory. That's what a good shooter has, short-term memory.
Here is Kyle Guy, and he flicks the wrist and shows a little bit of that soft touch.
Jack Salk gets the assist on that one. Such a capable scorer, such a good quick release for Guy.
If Hall's a slow cooker, Kyle Guy must be a fry pan. He gets it heated up in a hurry. He's got it right now. It does not take much for that young man to find his flow and get loose. Right now, speaking of which, he's got it in his hands again, trying to take it inside this time. And here we go, the Kyle Guy show. It's almost as if on cue. We heard us talking. He's got 8 points now in the second half, and he's got 13 for the game, saying, wait a second, don't count me out yet. We got 3 scores after all. And a timeout is used. 5:48 to play here. In the second half, Virginia stretching that lead out now. They are creeping in on a 20-point advantage here at John Paul Jones Arena. And right now, the Wildcats are trying to figure out a way to slow down what has become a 3-headed monster. Virginia out in front comfortably down the final stretch here at JPJ. That Thomas Jefferson built, some might say, here at John Paul Jones Arena on the grounds of the University of Virginia. Tough schedule is coming up for both these teams. For Davidson, they won't see action for another 6 days. It's across the pond over to Hawaii. Oh, those poor Davidson Wildcats playing under the palm trees. But As you know, as a player who's done it yourself, it's easier said than done when you got to play that far away.
Yeah, when it's a business trip, and 6 days they don't have to play, but it's going to take a solid day plus to get over there and probably go a few days early to get acclimated. That'll be a fun tournament. But certainly you've got to stay locked in and not let yourself get distracted when you're on a fun trip like that.
Goodmanson gets alone from three, squeezes off the shot, but can't finish it. And all of a sudden, Davidson's cooled off quite a bit. They've missed a couple open looks, but they haven't had as many open shots as they did in the first half, certainly. But for the game now, just 7 of 22 from three-point range. A far cry from their 13 they average as Jerome finds himself in a predicament down low and gets the benefit of the bounce there as his team will hold on to it. Davidson has not scored in a field goal in the last 5 minutes plus, missing their last 6 straight.
And I think as we talked about sort of the clashing of the two identities here in this game, Virginia certainly leading the nation in scoring defense. So defense is where they sort of fuel their offense. On the opposite side, Davidson, a team leading the nation in made three-pointers per game. They've got to see those shots go down early. And you're seeing the way that early on in the first half when they were knocking them down, they were able to get into a good defensive rhythm. But as they've slowed the pace here and Virginia's amped up the defense a bit, you're seeing the impact it's having on Davidson's defensive struggles. Virginia's been able to find seams and score a little bit easier.
Collins just picked up a couple quick fouls, and just like that, they are into the penalty as Virginia have a chance at 2 free throws now as Kyle Guy makes good on the front of a 1-and-1. Second free throw for Guy is perfect. So he now sits 15 points in this game. Don't count this kid out. Literally, as we talked about, Kyle Guy not needing to score in this game. It's as though that sixth sense kicked in, and he has suddenly put himself in contention for that scoring lead. We got a whistle and a foul on the other side of things as this game slows down here in our final 5 minutes as Virginia has taken this one by controlling the second half and put themselves in the driver's seat with Goodmanson going to the line. In some ways, it was a similar outcome for Davidson against North Carolina, where they hung around until the final 11 minutes or so in Charlotte when those two teams hooked up. But North Carolina just kind of outlasted them and opened it up from there as Aldridge buries the three from right in front of his own bench. He's got 20 points now. So Davidson back to within 20. Is Tony Bennett going to use the timeout? You know, this is a perfect example of the perfectionist that is Tony Bennett. His team's out in front by 18, but it might as well be a one-point game as he's laying into his team's defense. He will accept nothing but perfection from his guys as he saw the defensive breakdown right there. And yeah, I promise he's not whispering sweet nothings to his guys right now on holiday pleasantries.
Now, if I could read the lips correctly, I think it said you better toughen up down there. And you're right. That's what he's built this program on, is you don't just start settling because you have a lead. He cares about defense, and this is a team that holds teams to 52.6 points per game. Davidson right at that number, but he wants every defensive possession to be sound. And that's where you build and continue to add on to the fundamentals when you're holding your team to that standard, regardless of the score.
So a little bit of full court pressure here for one of the rare times from Davidson, but it was token pressure as they back off. Just wanting to get that ball into the front court quickly here, and now the aggression is dialed up by Bob McKillop's team. There's a whistle and a foul, and that's going to be more free throws as Kyle Guy will go back to the line.
It's important to note, too, when you look at Virginia's schedule, Savannah State on Tuesday, then they play Hampton on Friday. Then they're in ACC play begins. They play a Boston College team who we just saw upset Duke. And so you can't sort of coast through this last week coming off of the break. If anything, these are the games that you want to make sure you are getting every little thing shored up, correcting mistakes, putting together a full 40 minutes regardless of who the opponent is. And Coach Bennett making sure he keeps everybody's head in the game.
That last foul was the fourth of the game on Rusty Riegel, who just checked out. Both free throws go down meantime for Kyle Guy, who all of a sudden has 17 points for Virginia. He is just, in the blink of an eye, surpassed his season average as he came into this game averaging 16.8. There's a nice feed down low, and Oscar Mickelson with a lay-in. So Virginia's defense giving up a couple rather simplified, easier buckets than Tony Bennett would like. But the lead is still a comfortable one at 18 points. Ty Jerome sizes up the rim, leaves it short. What a rebound, though, for Jack Salt, but he stepped out of bounds, and there's a little bit of that panache that the big man from Auckland, New Zealand, has been known to show. He knew rugby growing up. Sometimes you see it when he plays on the court. Right now, his team out in front, 72-54. We'll be back in a moment, right after this. The ACC champions of 2015 go back to 2014 when the Cavaliers won the ACC tournament. Prior to that, boy, it had been a long time, 38 years, 1976. A guy by the name of Terry Holland was the head coach, and that's a name that Davidson folks know well. He was the head coach for the Wildcats, played for the Wildcats. As a matter of fact, beat this Virginia team in 1974 as the Davidson head coach before moving to Virginia, and the rest, as they say, is history. He would coach against Davidson 3 consecutive years. And I asked Tony Bennett, I said, can you imagine if you had to coach against your former team when you first came here from Washington State? And he said, yeah, it would have been really hard. I would have had to try and find a way to stop Klay Thompson from scoring. And yeah, that's about it. Not many people have been able to figure that out. One of the Splash Brothers, as Davidson knows well. Shot misses, and there's Wilkins for the rebound.
Terry Holland even going back to become the Davidson athletics director, and would also spend time as the athletics director here at Virginia.
Pretty amazing. These two head coaches coached both of those Splash Brothers. Klay Thompson played for Tony Bennett at Washington State, and of course Steph Curry for Bob McKillop here at Davidson. Here's Devin Hall putting up a contested shot over Regal. And Davidson will have it going the other way. Nice feed down low. Mickelson with a laydown. Waning moments of this one. Davidson, you never know. Shoot a team that shoots it as well as this team does. Those deficits can evaporate in a hurry, but they have got work to do. Trailing by 16 points against a Virginia defense that doesn't give up too many points very easily. Here's Guy, and it's especially hard when you got players making shots like that one. Kyle Guy now 19 points. And amazing, he is one off the team high now.
His ability to square up his shoulders off balance and almost mid jump shot is impressive.
The quick cooker. There's a nice attacking move underneath from John Axel Goodmanson. Played on the Icelandic U15, 16, 17, 18, and U20 national teams. And interesting how he landed at Davidson. Coach McKillop said he runs clinics out there, and said, is that more of a scouting move for you? A recruiting option? He said, really, it's more about he likes to travel, and the fact that he also likes to better the game, and it's a chance to do that internationally as Nigel Johnson will go to the free throw line for a pair. Right now you've got 3 players for Virginia that are closing in on 20 points in this game. Devin Hall already a career high, 20 points. He's got Kyle Guy right on his heels with 19, and now Nigel Johnson with 17, and a chance to add to his tally right here.
Something Coach Bennett had said to us as well, that looking for that third option. So I think he'll be impressed looking at the stat sheet, at least in the points category, at the balance that Virginia's been able to spread out on the offensive end.
Johnson now at 19 points. If Virginia could get 3 over 20, it'd be the first time a Cavalier team has been able to accomplish that feat since way back in January of 2000. And now Nigel Johnson has a chance to do just that. He shows the hops with a one-hand flush. 21 points now for the senior, the graduate transfer. So now all that's lacking is Kyle Guy. Can he join that 20-point club? Contested three-pointer for Goodmanson. In and out. And now 3 new faces getting set to check in. Virginia likely will take some of those guys out. We'll see if one of those guys is Kyle Guy. Fans with a well-earned ovation for this Virginia team as Kyle Guy will in fact check out along with Devin Hall. Guy 14 points in the second half after he was quiet in the first. Devin Hall, 12 of his 20 coming in the second half. So they have really stepped it up. Nigel Johnson was the spark plug in the first half. He's still out there. By the way, the last time a Virginia team had 2 players even score 20 points was back on in March of 2017 at the NCAA tournament. As Justice Bartley new into the game, lost the basketball. Now Austin Castra also new in, trying to fight for that loose ball. Trayvon Gross and Marco Anthony joined them on the floor, along with the veteran Nigel Johnson. So it will go back over to Davidson with inside of a minute to play in this one. Virginia eyeing what would be its 9th win in 10 games. That foul right there will actually send Peyton Aldridge to the line for a 1-and-1 as the Cavaliers are into the penalty. 9th team foul right there for UVA. Can't make the front side of the 1-and-1. A little full court pressure now. Nigel Johnson tried to drive around it, and there is a whistle and a foul going against Carter Collins. Sometimes the longest part of a game is the final minute. Doesn't matter what the score is. So Nigel Johnson, who has 21 points in this game, he'll have an opportunity here if he can make both these free throws to tie his collegiate career high. That was one he set a year ago with Rutgers, and he will make good on the first of 2.
Nigel Johnson just adds that experienced, veteran, mature player at that point position. It'll be exciting to see him throughout conference play, as you almost anticipate the speed of games night in and night out to be at a consistently higher level than some non-conference matchups.
You're going to have to settle for 22 as the second free throw wouldn't go, and now the shot is offline for Grady, but there to clean it up is Carter Collins in the low block. Full court pressure. Pass sent ahead to Trayvon Gross, and with the shot clock and game clock separated by about 5 seconds, Virginia will have to just try to work it down. Now it's the freshman Marco Coleman being trapped in the corner. Or check that, Anthony. 3-point try from Austin Castro, misfires. Bartley for the rebound.
It's so fun to watch how excited everybody gets when you've got some of the walk-ons in the game now, hoping that they'll score.
Bartley at the line for 2 shots here. He's got a chance. First free throw from Justice Bartley goes down. Great opportunity to shine here, and Virginia's bench loving that opportunity and the chance for some of these guys that work so hard. It doesn't matter what team it is. Those scout team players, boy, they earn their stripes.
No question. You go watch some of those practices, and they're absolutely working just as hard as every other guy on the team.
Shot rims in and out. Ball goes out of bounds. It'll be the last play of the game as Virginia finishes off the Davidson Wildcats, a 20-point victory for the 16th ranked Cavaliers here in front of the home fans. Second most points Virginia has scored this season is Tony Bennett's bunch taking care of business against Davidson today. Chelsea, Virginia started slow, but they would finish fast.
Yeah, picked up the defense for sure, and forcing a very good Davidson team into 13 turnovers, which is above their average of 8.6 a game. And if I had to guess, though, I would guess Coach Bennett is going to have a few words about some of the lapses defensively. But again, with that 11 break, they did a good job of shaking off that rust and coming out here strong.
So for Chelsea Shine, I'm Dave Kane saying so long from John Paul Jones Arena in Charlottesville, where the final score is Virginia 80, Davidson 60. All games airing on the ESPN networks or streaming live on the ESPN app, or to watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.